Good morning and welcome to the Mayor's Press Conference to launch our Mask Up campaign for the city of Hattiesburg. My name is Bernard Green, the owner of GlobalGreen Insurance Agency, and I want to appeal to the citizens of Hattiesburg, business leaders in our community at large to join us in the Mask Up campaign. I spent the last 20 plus years of my career in insurance and risk management. And we see this as a way to manage the risk. There's 4 ways to manage risk, which is avoidance, mitigation, transfer, and to retain risk. At this point in our lives, it's virtually impossible for us to avoid the risk of COVID-19 and how it affects our city and our community. So which leads us to where we are with mitigation. Our mask campaign is a part of this mitigation process, and we ask you to join us. We're calling on leaders to set the example. One thing I know in common that we have as leaders, as business and community leaders, is that we have the ability to adapt and overcome. We're resilient, we can make things happen. We also appreciate authority and respect for authority, which means that every good leader is a follower. And lastly, we all understand the altruistic view in which we approach this, which is personal sacrifice for the greater good of a larger group. Now I will be followed by Hoppy Cole, the First Bank. After that will be Abb Payne with Payne Companies, Todd Jackson with the ADP, Traci Rouse with Mayor Wesley, and then Dr. Rouhbakhsh, and then our Mayor, Mr. Toby Barker.
Thanks, Bernard. I'm Hoppy Cole. I'm president and CEO of the First Bank Shares. We're a bank located here in Hattiesburg, but we operate in a 5-state area with well over 800 employees. As you know, banks are essential businesses, and part of our regulatory framework, we're required to have a business plan for how to operate in natural disasters. Pandemic is identified as one of those disasters. So we have for years been planning for what to do when something like this strikes. A foundational piece of that is PPE equipment distribution system-wide, and masks are a fundamental part of that. So early on, we adopted or implemented our plan with regard to pandemic planning and business operations, and adopted a mask wearing policy across our footprint. I firmly believe it's been helpful. We've been very fortunate with well over, again, 800 employees. We've had very few cases, and it's allowed us to stay open, continue to conduct business, continue to serve our clients, however, to minimize the risk to our employees, their families, and our clients. So it's not a big ask. It's one of the tools that we have. I firmly believe it's been helpful in allowing us to keep our cases low and to help us stay open and serve our clients. So I would say, hey, mask up. It's one of the tools that we have. Abb?
Thank you very much, Hoppy. Hey, y'all, my name is Abb Payne. I'm the president of Payne Companies. And basically what Payne Companies serves as an investment manager and somewhat private equity company that invests in a lot of different types of businesses across the country. You know, we have healthcare companies in Tennessee and assisted living companies throughout the South, technology companies, food and restaurant management companies, hotel. And so the mayor asked me to speak today about our cross-section of businesses, and really what we've seen as we've traveled around the country through all of this. It's been a real, obviously interesting time to be involved in businesses throughout America. And we've seen very different ways to go about things. You know, I think what's really struck me from day one, which is not really surprising, but I think it's not said enough, is that, you know, I get a real sense, whether I was in Utah or California, or today I'm in North Carolina, that Americans really are dealing with COVID as through an we're all in this together approach. And that means, you know, even though it might not be required to wear a mask, that it is just kind of the right thing to do. It's kind of a social contract amongst Americans and people that move around. You know, the alternative is to shut the country down, and no one wants that. And so I would say, if you just treat your neighbors like you want to be treated, it's a great thing. And you never know who you're standing next to. I was standing next to a cancer survivor yesterday, and I'd have never known that. And so didn't mind to be wearing a mask. And he shared his story with me, and it was super cool. But this weekend in North Carolina, there's limits to 4 people per elevator. There's mask requirements in indoors. There's 10 people or less in social gatherings. There's 50 people or less in large banquet halls. There's various, ideal situations to follow. I think you're seeing national retailers, Walmart, CVS, Target, that are requiring masks to walk in their doors. And, that's a major sacrifice for national retailers. And so they're not doing it because it's required from a standpoint that certainly not every municipality they're in requires that, but they see a real benefit to wearing masks, and they're doing, their corporate, contract with America to do their best to prevent the spread. And so, those businesses really lose money requiring masks. All their security and liability and all that really depend on being able to see who's there. And so if they're willing to mask up, I think it sets a great example that national retailers are setting the tone. And it's best I've seen across the country this whole summer, that people are willing to do it. It's not a big deal. You can have a good time with it, get you a designer mask and enjoy it. So I'm honored to be on the call. I think America's really stepped up through all this. And I think you see that through America's businesses. So thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot for those comments. My name's Todd Jackson. I am the Executive Vice President here at the ADP, our Area Development Partnership. Our mission here at the ADP is to enhance the quality of life in Greater Hattiesburg through economic progress. And obviously we are all aware of the health implications that COVID-19 has had around the world, but there are also some extremely severe economic consequences that we are all trying to navigate through at this time. And so I greatly appreciate Mayor Barker and the City of Hattiesburg staff pulling together months and months ago, pulling together a community working group of a lot of the leaders you see here to discuss different ways to navigate through this challenge and to come up with ideas to keep our people and our citizens as safe as possible, while also allowing for businesses to operate as much as possible. So what you see here today is what I believe is really the next step in that campaign. I'm going to rely on my friend Samantha McCain at the City of Hattiesburg. She has put together a wonderful campaign titled Mask Up HBURG. This ties in to the statewide medical organizations and a campaign they put out a couple of weeks ago called Mask Up Mississippi. We'll now be tying into that statewide approach through our own local campaign called Mask Up HBURG. This is really all about a call to action for each and every one of us that call this great community home, and really an educational opportunity for the reasons why wearing a mask is important. This will be a robust, integrated advertising campaign that will be shared across multiple platforms. You can see the website on your screen, maskuphburg.com, where there will be a lot of resources available there. And what Samantha is showing on the screen right now is a lot of the graphics that you will see around the community in the coming days. It protects you, it protects us, it protects our economy, and also allowing a personal touch to it with I mask up for someone like my mother-in-law who has stage 4 multiple myeloma and is, which is thankfully in remission right now. But my family and I are very sensitive to keeping her protected. At the same time, my family is also very sensitive to us being able to earn a living as well. And so that's where we all find ourselves today, trying to balance all of this. And so our call for fellow business leaders in Hattiesburg today is to help us and get behind this campaign called Mask Up HBURG. I just appreciate the mayor and his staff allowing us to participate. And our team here at the Area Development Partnership will certainly be asking them. Thanks for your time.
I'm Traci Rouse. I'm with Merit Health Wesley. And from the healthcare perspective, we want the community to know that we are here for them, that we will continue to be here for them when they need us. Our doctors, our nurses, our frontline staff are working extremely hard to handle the influx of COVID patients that are coming our way. But we need your help. We need the business community's help to spread the word about this campaign. We need the community's help in wearing the masks. We feel like for every business that will share the message of this campaign, your customers will then change their actions. The best way for us to change actions is for the customers to see this message multiple places and multiple times. So the ask is simple to the business community. Will you help us? Dr. Rouhbakhsh?
Thank you very much, Tracy. I appreciate that. I'm Rambod Rouhbakhsh. I work at the Hattiesburg Clinic and Forrest Hospital. And I can just tell you quite simply, we've had a lot of misses when it comes to battling this pandemic. There's a lot of things that we got wrong. There's a lot of things that we didn't quite know how to do, but we've learned a lot. And probably the one thing I'm most confident about is the ability of appropriate mask usage to help decrease the spread of this disease. We have robust evidence from our COVID clinic that not one person has turned up positive from exposure to a patient. And we also have robust evidence that the healthcare workers that do test positive test so when they're out socially and when they're not at work and required to wear masks. So if there was ever any question as to the usefulness of this as an intervention, let me please put that to rest. This is absolutely the one thing that we have that we know works. And if you normalize this behavior, if this becomes part of what we do during this pandemic, I truly feel like that is our best chance of getting out of this in a reasonable fashion. And please make no mistake that until we get control over this, we can't uncouple business from control of this pandemic. So if we can, as a group, strive together, just like we did in other times of crisis as a country, and do this because it's important for all of us, I think we can get through this in a reasonable manner. Mayor Barker.
And I'll just say that I think that I've always remarked that the strength of our city is not in who sits in City Hall or who sits on the City Council or the Board of Supervisors. The strength of our city is in the creativity, the diversity, the innovation, the resilience of our community. And that starts with those who have started business, who preside over businesses, who preside over our healthcare institutions. These are the cornerstones of what makes Hattiesburg that premier city. And so I very much appreciate all of these business leaders stepping forward and lending their name and their voice and their influence to such an important cause, particularly right now when we are at a very critical point in the life of this pandemic. We know this is going to go on for quite some time, but the more that we can reduce the risk of transmission by engaging in those small behaviors, the more that we can keep our city open and that we can move forward and save lives. So I thank all of our business leaders who are on this call today, for all who wear a mask regularly because it's the right thing to do, and look forward to what comes next with this campaign.